try to imagine a sound. If the vacuum of space could carry noise, you would not hear silence. You would hear a continuous, deafening roar. 100 decibels of raw, percussive thunder. It would be the sound of 10 billion hydrogen bombs detonating every single second. This is the true face of the sun. We often view it as a peaceful yellow disk in our sky, a symbol of life and warmth. But that is a lethal misconception. The sun is a colossal, churning ball of plasma that holds 99.8% of all the mass in our entire solar system. Everything else, Jupiter, Saturn, the Earth, and you, is just a rounding error in the face of this giant. And this giant is not stable. It is an ocean of fury with no shore and no bottom. And this is only the beginning. When we look at the sun through the eyes of the National Aeronautics and Space Administration, we see a surface that looks like boiling gold. These are granules. Each one of these bubbles of rising hot gas is the size of Texas. They last for only 20 minutes before they pop and sink back down, replaced by a fresh surge of heat from below. But the surface is the calmest part. Above it, the magnetic fields are twisting like giant invisible snakes. They pull loops of plasma hundreds of thousands of miles into the blackness of space. These are prominences. They are so large that 20 Earths could fit inside a single loop. And when these magnetic lines snap, the result is a solar flare. It is a release of energy so vast it is almost impossible to comprehend. But there is a deeper layer to this problem. We are living in the atmosphere of a star. We are not separate from it. We are swimming in a constant stream of charged particles called the solar wind. It hits our planet at millions of miles per hour. Our only protection is a thin, invisible magnetic shield that we call the magnetosphere. But that shield is not impenetrable. In 1859, the sun showed us what it is truly capable of. We call it the Carrington Event. A massive cloud of solar plasma hit the Earth directly. The night sky turned so bright in the Caribbean that people could read newspapers by the light of the auroras. Telegraph wires sparked and caught fire. Operators were thrown across rooms by electric shocks. If that happened today, in our digital age, it would be a global apocalypse. Every satellite would die. The internet would go dark. Global power grids would melt. We would be back in the Stone Age in less than 24 hours. But the most unsettling part of the sun is its unpredictability. We track solar spots, dark regions where the magnetic field is so intense it chokes off the heat. These spots are the birthplaces of monsters. They are the indicators of the solar cycle, an 11-year heartbeat where the sun's magnetic poles literally flip upside down. During a solar maximum, the sun becomes a predator. It fires off coronal mass ejections like cosmic cannonballs. We are a tiny target in a very large shooting gallery. And yet, we have no choice but to sit and wait. But the real scale of the horror becomes clear when you look at the numbers. The scale of the sun is so vast that it dwarfs our human problems into absolute nothingness. You could fit 1,300,000 Earths inside the sun. If the sun were the size of a front door, the Earth would be the size of a nickel. This is the reality of our situation. We are ants living next to a furnace. And that furnace is currently at its most active phase in decades. Every flare is a reminder of our fragility. The sun is beautiful, yes, but so is a nuclear explosion from a distance. The closer we look, the more we realize that the sun does not care about us. It does not know we exist. It is simply a machine of pure, unadulterated power. And as we move deeper into the structure of this star, the tension only increases. We are about to go where light itself is trapped for thousands of years. We are going to the core. But as we transition into the dark interior, remember one thing. The light you see today is not new. It is a ghost from the distant past. And here, the scale of time becomes as terrifying as the scale of size. We are now diving beneath the surface, leaving the golden clouds behind. We are passing through the convective zone, where massive currents of plasma rise and fall like boiling water in a pot. The pressure here is already enough to crush any man-made object into a microscopic speck. But as we go deeper, we enter the radiative zone. This is a place where physics starts to feel like a nightmare. Here, the density is so high that the sun becomes a solid wall of light. But this light is trapped. This is the story of the random walk. When a photon of light is born in the core, it cannot simply fly out. The plasma is so thick that the photon hits a particle, bounces, hits another, and bounces again. This journey from the center to the surface takes between 10,000 and 170,000 years. Think about that for a second. The sunlight hitting your face right now was born when mammoths still walked the earth. It has been struggling to escape the sun's gravity and density for millennia. It is a light from a dead era finally reaching the vacuum of space and traveling to Earth in just 8 minutes and 20 seconds. But why is it born? We have to reach the core to find out. This is the heart of the tyrant. The temperature here is 15 million degrees Celsius. The pressure is 340 billion times the atmospheric pressure on Earth. In these conditions, matter loses its identity. Hydrogen atoms are smashed together so hard that they fuse into helium. This is thermonuclear fusion. It is the most powerful force in the universe, and it is happening right above your head. Every second, the sun fuses 600 million tons of hydrogen into 596 million tons of helium. Where did the other 4 million tons go? They were converted into pure energy. This is Einstein's famous equation in action on a celestial scale. This energy is what prevents the sun from collapsing. There is a war going on inside the star. Gravity wants to crush the sun into a black hole. The outward pressure from the nuclear explosions wants to rip the sun apart. They are locked in a stalemate that has lasted for 4.6 billion years. This is hydrostatic equilibrium. It is a fragile piece. If the core gets slightly hotter, the sun expands. If it cools, it contracts. We are alive only because this war is currently a draw. But the core is also a graveyard. Every second, the ash of the nuclear fire, helium, is piling up in the center. The sun is slowly poisoning itself. As the helium builds up, the core becomes denser and hotter. This makes the sun grow brighter. Every 100 million years, the sun becomes 1% more luminous. This sounds small, but in 1 billion years, it will be the end of life on Earth. The oceans will boil away, the atmosphere will be stripped, Earth will become a sterile, burnt rock. This is not a theory, it is the inevitable math of stellar evolution. The sun is a clock. and it is ticking toward our extinction, and there is no way to stop it. The scale of the danger here is nearly incomprehensible. We are talking about a reactor that consumes 4 million tons of its own mass every second, and yet has enough fuel to do this for another 5 billion years. It is a monster of efficiency and destruction. As we look at the high-definition renders of the core, we see a world of white-hot chaos. There is no solid ground here. There is only energy. And yet this energy is what allows us to breathe, to think, to build civilizations. We are the parasites of a nuclear god. But the most terrifying part is the sound it makes. Using a science called helioseismology, researchers from the National Aeronautics and Space Administration have recorded the vibrations of the sun. It rings like a giant liquid bell. These sound waves travel through the interior and tell us what is happening deep inside. The sun is a living, pulsing entity. It has a boundary called the tachocline, where different layers of the star rotate at different speeds. This friction is what generates the dynamo, the engine of the magnetic field. No same tiave scriveazza dalce. The dynamo is not perfect. It fluctuates, it breaks. We are at the mercy of a machine we cannot even see. And the final act of this machine is the most terrifying transformation in the history of our world. We are moving toward the end. The end begins not with a whimper, but with an expansion. 5 billion years from now, the hydrogen in the core will be gone. The balance of power we talked about will fail. Gravity will take over, crushing the helium core until it becomes so hot that the surrounding layers of hydrogen begin to fuse in a desperate final burst of energy. This will push the outer layers of the sun outward with a force that cannot be stopped. Our star will swell. It will become a red giant. This is the moment when the sun stops being a provider and starts being a devourer. It is a moment of total, inescapable cosmic horror. Mercury is the first to go. The closest planet will be swallowed by the solar atmosphere, its rocks vaporized in seconds. Then Venus, the morning star, will be consumed by the very light it once reflected so beautifully. But the question everyone asks is, what happens to Earth? As the sun expands, it will fill the entire sky. The temperature on Earth will reach thousands of degrees. The mountains will melt into rivers of lava. If Earth is not swallowed physically, it will be a scorched, dead husk. The sun will be 250 times larger than it is today. Imagine looking up and seeing nothing but the red glowing surface of a star stretching from one horizon to the other. This is the final fate of our home. Everything we have ever built will turn to dust and gas. But the sun's struggle is not over. Inside the red giant, the core will reach 100 million degrees. This will trigger the helium flash. In a matter of minutes, the helium in the core will begin to fuse into carbon. It is a massive, violent pulse of energy that will shake the entire star. The sun will then enter a period of instability, pulsing and shedding its outer layers like a dying animal gasping for breath. These layers of gas and dust will drift into space, forming a planetary nebula. From a distance, it will look like a beautiful glowing ring of light in the darkness. But inside that ring, there will be nothing left of the solar system. The tyrant will have finished its work. What remains in the center is the white dwarf. This is the sun's corpse. It is a sphere the size of the Earth, but with the mass of a star. It is so dense that a teaspoon of its material would weigh as much as an elephant. The white dwarf does not create energy. It has no nuclear fire left. It is simply a glowing ember cooling down in the dark. It will spend trillions of years fading away. Eventually, it will become a black dwarf, a cold, dark crystal of carbon and oxygen, floating in a dead universe. This is the final silence. Everything we have ever known, every war, every love, every discovery will end as a cold rock in the void. And here, the scale of the horror meets the scale of majesty. We are made of the same material that the sun is currently burning. The carbon in your DNA, the oxygen you breathe, these were forged inside stars that died before the sun was even born. We are a part of this cycle. When the sun dies and sheds its layers, those atoms will travel through the galaxy and eventually become part of new stars and new planets. We are cosmic recycled material. The death of our sun is the birth of something else. But the saddest part is contemplating our inevitability. The sun is our master. It gave us life, and it has already written the date of our execution. We live in a brief window of stability. Our entire history is just a flicker in the life of a star. When we look at the sun now, we should see it for what it truly is, a ticking bomb made of light. It is majestic, it is terrifying, and it is the only reason we are here to talk about it. We are small, we are temporary, but we are here to witness the fire while it lasts. The sun continues to roar, 70% of the way through its main sequence. It is burning, it is waiting, and it is the most beautiful nightmare in the universe. Our journey ends here, but the fire above continues to burn, oblivious to our existence.